What's up, guys? What's up, Nate? How you doing, man?
Doing good, Kobe. How about you?
Pretty good. Spring training's going on. The season's gonna be starting soon, so I'm excited.
Me too. Yeah, it's the off season's over. The Cardinals literally, well, they didn't do too much, but spring's going well, I guess, and yeah, we'll see what happens this season.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about the off season. This might be a short video because the Cardinals literally did nothing. Oh my
Yeah,
god. But yeah, we'll just talk about they had some losses. Goldschmidt left to the Yankees. Andrew Kedrick left. They had some losses, but not the youth movement we are looking for, right?
yeah, absolutely. Because we all knew Goldschmidt was going to be gone. He's a free agent, and how old is he? Like 36, 37 now. Like it was obvious they were not going to keep him, and it made sense to get rid of him. But they committed to saying, they wanted Nolan Arenado to be traded as well. Obviously, part of the reason he wasn't was due to Alex Bregman and Scott Boras, but at the same time they also had a responsibility to trade guys like Ryan Helsley, Steven Matz, and what's his name, Eric
Eric
Fetty.
Fetty.
Yes, and they didn't trade any of them. It's just very disappointing. And I saw today that they didn't even spend $1 million in the offseason on the MLB roster.
Yeah, they didn't even get younger. I mean, the offense is a little younger, but the pitching's still pretty old. Like if you look at it, like it's still old pitching staff.
Yeah, it really is. Like Katie Wu said yesterday that she believes that it's actually going to be McGreevy and Palante fighting it out for the number five spot in the rotation this year.
That's bad, man. That's bad.
I know. Miles Michaelis in the rotation, Steven Matz, they're guaranteed spots, but Palante, McGreevy, the youth movement, they don't even get to start. Like
Yeah,
you're telling me these
so they,
guys have to wait?
dude, this is like a lame duck year for Mozeliak. It's so obvious. Like, oh my god, I can't wait till the season's over just because Mozeliak will be gone. But oh my god,
Yeah, he's really has not lived up to what we wanted to this offseason. Like, I understand the Nolan Arenado thing was out of his control, but we should have gotten some new prospects here. Like, what if Nolan Gorman doesn't pan out? What if Jordan Walker? I hope he does, but what if some of these guys don't? We don't have any insurance prospects. I guess Weatherholt, but he's not going to be ready for a year or so.
yeah. And Nolan Gorman has struggled in spring training. I hear like that's not good.
Yeah, he really has dealt with all those strikeouts. He's really changed his stance a lot this spring, though. So curious to see how it will do. But so far, he's been struggling a little bit. I can pull up the numbers if you like. Not that it all
Yeah,
fully
you can.
means. Yeah, let's pull it up.
I know people overreact about spring training a little bit too much.
They do, but with Nolan Gorman, I feel like it's justified just because you know the type player he is. And let's see. He's batting 154 with a 185 on base percentage, a 192 slugging, and a 377 OPS. And he struck out
Not gonna cut it.
nine times and 26 at bats. So that's just over a third of the times he's been at the plate.
Yeah, he has a strikeout problem, man. He has such potential too.
I know,
It's a
like
shame.
he's literally squandering it with all the strikeouts. And I was talking about this on Twitter, and it's like some of this is down to Gary LaRoque, man. Like I'm so glad he's gone and Surfolio. That is the high point of the offseason. Like Hein Bloom's kind of preparing his front office together. We can get into that, but I do think Gary LaRoque or LaRoque, however you pronounce it, he was part of the problem. His player development absolutely sucks, and we've had good first round picks, but for some reason we're never able to develop them, and that's on him. a lot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like the rotation is pretty much like you said. It's gonna come down to Palante and McGreevy for that last spot, which is they both should be in the rotation if you think about it. But
Yeah, they should be in the rotation, but the Cardinals just don't want to swallow their pride and admit that they should never have re-signed Miles Michaelis to that 2 year extension. So they're gonna be like, well, we extended Miles Michaelis, so um, that means we have to start him all season long to justify it. It really is crazy.
yeah,
Like,
but is Matt's and Michael's contract up after the year?
yes, both of them are up.
Oh my god! Thank God, man. Like, whew.
I know they both account for $30 million of payroll on this roster.
We're gonna have a lot of free money up this off season, right? Like it's gonna be we can actually spend
Yeah,
money.
you have those two, Ryan Helsley, Eric Fetty, of course. Who else is a free agent? Those are the bigger names that I can think of. Helsley's actually getting a good deal for the team at $8.2 million. That's why it surprises me they didn't at least try to upgrade the bullpen. Like he's being underpaid for the quality reliever he is, and yeah, but we're gonna have a lot of free agents this offseason. I just hope we can get something for them, you know?
Yeah. So if you had a guess, do you think Palante is the favorite for the last spot?
Yeah, I would think so based on last year. I think it will be him ultimately, but yeah, Michael McGreevy, he should also be getting some starts. I mean, he's not a high ceiling pitcher by any means, but he, to me, judging by his stuff, he seems like an improved version of like Dakota Hudson, you know? Like better
Yeah.
than Dakota, not as bad as Dakota.
Yeah. Next guy I want to talk about like the bullpen. What are your thoughts on the bullpen? I know we didn't really add much to the bullpen, but I still think it's an okay bullpen, don't you think? Like if everyone
Yeah,
stays healthy.
there's a lot of potential in the bullpen this season. Like we signed Nick Anderson to a minor league contract, which I know it doesn't sound like much, but just a couple seasons ago, that guy had a sub 3 ERA with the or he had a 3.06 ERA, sorry, with the Braves just 2 years ago, and he had a good amount of strikeouts to go with it, and good numbers. Uh, Obviously, he didn't have quite the same success this year, 4 ERA, and he was cut by the Royals, but I think he can be an underrated piece to this bullpen. I'm certainly glad we didn't get Andrew Kittredge because it looks like he's going to be out for several months. He just got injured with the Orioles. And Ryan Fernandez, maybe he can take a step up next year. I mean, this year. And he looks like a guy who I think could eventually take that closing role if Ryan Housley elects to walk. And you still got JoJo. John King is a solid reliever as well. Um, it could be a little more stacked than it is right now, but it's not, you know, it's not a terrible bullpen.
No. And yeah, I did see Kittredge got hurt already for Baltimore. I'm like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks. But yeah, I think the bullpen. I think it's gonna be a good bullpen. I'm not saying it's gonna be trash or anything, but I think it's gonna be a good bullpen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And okay, next I want to talk about kind of is we have a little catching battle, even though it really shouldn't be a battle. But Herrera and Pages for the catching job. Um, so far it looks like Herrera's been producing more offensively. I see.
Yeah, he has been like you saw the home run he hit yesterday, um, in yesterday's spring training game. He's outplayed Pages. His OPS is above 1,000. His batting average is near 300. Pedro Pages hasn't done squat. I mean, he's sure he is a better defender and he has a better pop time in terms of, throwing out base runners. But like defensive side, the gap between Herrera's bat and Pages' bat is so huge that Pajes's defense cannot justify him having a starting job on this team this year. I think Herrera should be the clear winner in this lineup. And if he isn't, if they don't give him a chance like they did last offseason, I think we have every right to be frustrated.
Oh yeah, I might do a rant video, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I swear, if you don't win it, like, I'm gonna be really mad, man. Like, he deserves it.
Yeah, he
And
really
then,
does, man.
and so, do you see like, obviously Contreras at first, Gorman at second, Wynn at short, and then Arenado at third. That's
Yeah,
pretty much you see it
that's how
as.
that's how I see the infield playing out. I think Burleson will also get some good opportunities at first as well, just so Wilson Contreras won't wear out being in the field. But yeah, I think those four are going to be in. Burleson will probably DH a good amount of games, but at the same time, the way Gorman's been swinging the bat, I could even see Donovan playing second, to be honest, because right now the problem is with Arenado, we should have gotten rid of him, but obviously we couldn't. But now that you have him, you can't play both Nolan Gorman and Alec Burleson in the lineup at the same time. And obviously, Brendan Donovan needs to be in that lineup. And Victor Scott's been hitting well this spring, so I think he should all but be the starting center fielder. And if that were the case, that would require either Nolan Gorman or Alec Burleson to not be in this starting lineup. And I think it's obvious which one of the two should give up some playing time, you know?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to trade Arenado because I feel like you could have put Gorman at his normal position at third, but I mean, I'm not saying he earned his opportunity though because he struggled, but this is why I wanted to get rid of Arenado so bad, and it kind of makes me mad that we kept him, but I think you think he's gone to the deadline probably.
He could be. It just depends on the type season he has. Like, if he bounces back, it also depends on where this team is. I just don't know. I hope they trade him at the deadline, but what if they're in contention? They're like, you know what? Let's just keep him. But hopefully he has a
Yeah,
bounce back season and he can have better trade value than what we were talking about all off season.
if we're like at like 500 or like below, like we should trade him. Like I don't care.
Yeah, by all means, like
Like
him,
you can't be
Getty.
you can't be a mid team and keep him. You know, just gotta trade him. You gotta trade other people too.
Agreed. Like if we're in the middle and we're not close to contention or we're outside contention, if we're more than 5 games out of contention, you got to trade or out of a playoff spot, I should say. More than 5 games out of a playoff spot, you should trade all these guys, especially Arenado. If he's having a good season, trade him. If he's having a bad season, trade him still. But like, yeah, the fact of the matter is, Nolan Gorman, even though he is struggling in the spring, I think he deserves one more chance to prove himself to this team before we truly give up on him. But with Arenado still here, it's going to be a little bit harder to do that, especially with how Victor Scott's been playing in the spring.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna talk to you next. Like, you know, they're kind of a battle between Siani and Victor Scott, which really shouldn't even be a battle, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like, it should just be Victor Scott.
Yeah, I think that they like Siane's defense a little more than Scott's. It definitely is a little more advanced than Scott's, but to me, Scott has the potential to be just as good as Siani, like in that Gold Glove caliber contention. But I feel like a lot of the reason he isn't is just he's young. It'll take some time to get used to the major leagues, but I think he can get there someday. He's clearly the much better hitter by a mile. I don't even think Siani should. I mean, there's an argument to be made that he's not even the fifth best outfielder on this roster. Like you could legitimately make a case for Matt Koperniak to make the roster instead of him.
Yeah. So do you see the outfield Newbar, Victor Scott and Walker?
Can you repeat that?
Oh, do you see the outfield as Newbar, Walker, and Victor Scott.
Yeah, yeah. New bar in left field. Um, Scott in center. Walker in right field. I believe he will be healthy. He's about to be healthy anyway, so he'll be ready for opening day. Those will be the three outfielders. Now,
I said this months ago. I think the offense, if it can perform and stay healthy, I think the offense could be really good.
oh yeah, the ceiling of this team really depends on the offense because the pitching staff's going to be mostly the same as last year. A little less pieces, maybe a few more young guys here and there, maybe a McGreevy
No
or
Lynn or
Brissett.
Gibson.
Huh?
No
Yeah,
Lynn or Gibson.
yeah. No Leonard Gibson. Now you're replacing that with maybe Pawante, McGreevy, maybe Gordon Graceffo gets into the bullpen, but the majority of the ceiling of this team will come from the offense. And if they do well, then this team could actually legitimately be in the hunt for a playoff spot and be just outside of it or maybe just sneak in. If the offense is not good, guys don't take the steps as they need. Um, I could see them being closer to 2023 record, but
Yeah,
it's a lot dependent on the offense.
yeah. Well, last thing I was gonna ask you is, do you see this team like third or fourth place, or how do you see it happening? Like,
Well, I think the Cubs are a legitimate team this year. Obviously, they added Cal Tucker and they've added some bullpen help, Presley, a few other pieces. Um, the Brewers, they shouldn't be very good, but you can never count them out.
they're always good. It seems like no matter if they lose players too, it's crazy.
Agreed. The safe bet would be to say third, but I do think this team has a ceiling of second place. But for now, I'm just going to go with well, we'll go. I'll have my official predictions in the MLB predictions video we make, but for now, I am going to go third place just because the Brewers always seem to pull something. We think that they're out of it, and then they win the division. I think the Cubs and Cardinals are even ish, right about the same in a way, but it can go either way with the Cubs and Cardinals. Right now, I'm a half third, but if all goes well, it could be second.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. As of right now, I have us probably third, but we'll do our official predictions here a couple weeks closer to the
Yeah.
season. But yeah, that's all I really have. We discussed pretty much everything. So thank you all for coming on the video, and yeah, thank you for coming on, Nate.
Thank you very much for having me, Colby. I'm looking forward to our next one.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching, and peace. Have a good night.